ready. Joining me now is the retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, former Director for European Affairs for the United States National Security Council and a key witness in former President Trump's first impeachment. He testified about President Trump's call to the president of Ukraine. Colonel Vindman, thank you for being with us tonight. I do want to ask you, there's a UN Security Council meeting underway right now that was called. It's an emergency meeting that Volodymyr Zelensky asked for. The United States ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, has said this, quote, Putin wants the world to travel back in time, time before the United Nations, time where empires ruled the world. The rest of the world has moved forward. It's not 1919. It's 2022. I want to ask you what you think of what she said there.
Well, it's exactly right. It's this idea that somehow we'll return to the geopolitics of the rule of the jungle, where might makes right, where the powerful can do as they please. And it's really the age of empires. So it's a throwback to centuries gone by, and it's exactly the kind of world that Putin thinks he could prosper in. So this is what he's trying to do by upending international norms, by invading peaceful neighbors, and he's setting the blueprint for the world he wants to live in.
Are you a little bit puzzled at the response that's coming from some right-wing American media and now even members of the Republican Party who seem to be implying that, maybe this isn't all that bad. Maybe there may not be a really clear reason why we should be against a Russian invasion of Ukraine?
Well, it's part of the reason that Vladimir Putin believed he had an opportunity to conduct this offensive. And we're just seeing the first phase. We're just seeing the first kind of incursion and the recognition of these regions, Donetsk and Luhansk. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. So I think these folks, these right-wing pundits and the GOP that supports him really, frankly, have blood on their hands because they're encouraging and enticing this kind of opportunism from Putin. And it's not just kind of plain rhetoric and like you could say something without consequences, like too often happens in the United States. This has real consequences, and people are going to die because of this.
What has to happen here? What does the United States need to do at this point? You would have been advising the president in your former job.
Well, there is a whole host of things that we could still do. The first thing is that we need to actually start rolling out some of these significant sanctions. This might not be the maximalist scenario that we were thinking about. We want to leave some headroom for further sanctions. And frankly, there are always more things we can do in the sanctions sphere. We could challenge Russia at every place that it wants to conduct business. So we should start to roll out significant sanctions because Russia did invade its neighbor. There's no question about that. If before is operating covertly, now it's operating overtly, and that's a violation of international law and international norms. There has to be consequences. There's also more that we could be doing with regards to provisioning the Ukrainians to defend themselves, because this is just the opening play. There's going to be an enormous amount of violence. The scenarios that the Biden administration has laid out are more than likely to come to pass. I give it 90%, not 1/3 probability, but 90% probability that we're heading in that direction. You don't have this kind of force structure put on Ukraine's borders just for Putin to declare, these locations independent and then roll back the troops. Yeah. He doesn't end his problems with Ukraine. So that's another thing we could do. Posture changes in Europe is a huge thing. And frankly, we might get pulled into this regardless of what we do at this point.
Colonel, thanks for your time tonight. Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, we appreciate it. We'll be right back.